big hand for errors, applause for mistakes. Without them we wouldn't be here. Let's hear it for inexactitude, for imprecision, bravo, for fudging it, hip hip, 3 cheers. DNA of twisted double helix fame is an expert at that self-replication game. But once in a million times it goes wrong, and thanks to that we're singing the song. Won't you give a big hand for errors, applause for mistakes? Without them we wouldn't be here. Let's hear it for inexactitude, for imprecision, bravo, for fudging it, hip hip, 3 cheers. If that new mutation hits an egg or seed, which managed to combine together and then lead to one new fungus, plant or beast, that baby will be a little different at least. That mutation will probably reduce our new pal's ability to reproduce. But every now and then a mutation arrives, gives you a better chance of making more lives. A big hand for errors, applause for mistakes. Without them we wouldn't be here. Let's hear it for inexactitude, for imprecision, bravo, for fudging it, hip hip, 3 cheers. When the kids inherit that mutated gene, they're fitter than they otherwise might have been. To have more kids themselves and pass it on, and so it spreads through the population. Let's award the first prize for cock-ups, the second for slips. Without them...
We're taking a deep breath. A little bit late, as it turns out, like the Red Sox. A little bit late, but never mind, you take a deep breath. You live and let live. Randomized entropy emerges from time's asymmetric reality. The tablas take a back seat. We become what we are. Some. Sun and surf, Saturday and Sunday, is grateful if you're lucky, graced and gifted, blessed and benedictive. What if first and last you're lucky on the feminine, you worship the goddess, and you wait for Godot. The epifeminine is the only chance now. We've gone with the Y chromosome, the type A, the God. Now we need goddess. We need the fen and ephedrine. We need to do what we need to do. Pain is personal, like grief, like regret, like sciatica, which I have, should you be interested. What people are driven to do to one another in the Coke 1% master narrative official story you wouldn't want to know. It's all about finding the micro groove comfort zone of compassion, of Rahmanis, of enlightenment, of grace and grit, of the practice of intention and intuition. It's all about the singularity and the synesthesia. You take a deep breath. You go half speed, forward, forward, forward. 36 times. You can do it. You can tolerate the pleasure, my perfect audience. Us 36 understand. We know the gnosis. Okie dokie, okie dokie. Ah, delicious. I ask myself today, Sensei, like Elena Ferranti, telling the truth or no scart, or John Malkovich resurfaced last night on the BBC. Thanks, Johnny. We're meeting tomorrow. Who has control, Al or I, in Linda Land? Well, let me think. How do I get Maribified in the mainstream? You hardly ever ask a question like that. At Filene's basement in the sales, there isn't time to let go of control. You surrender who you are. Smarginatura. People are complicated. You don't have to do nothing, and you don't have to huff and puff and blow your house down, especially if it's made of straw or wood or stone, like a rolling stone. But don't do it on my say-so. You got to come to it yourself as you circle around the spiral stupa. Things change a little bit. Self-organization emerges from the shape dynamics of the shape shift time real. The relativity of simultaneity in the Boltzmann brain. And BAUC. It's a quid pro quo et al. Oh well. I'm nothing if res ipsa facta. Facto, Clyde Dempsey is dead. It's just too weird how he came on the radio, or someone writing about him did. My first ponem, Golem, Goyim Geschmat, Poem, Chris Bono, is the Clyde Dempsey time. A contemporary, and Mark Weinstein, wouldn't you just know it? And Anthony Weiner is getting divorced, as it turns out. Johnny Walker Courage, red badge of. My best friend all those years, Bobby Neerman. Mark Weinstein, far out, Danny Karp, and David, the truth turned out. Turned out, it's turned truth. It's truthicity, really. It's reality, realty. It's privatized property. It's entropic and it's quantumly local. It's the Coke 1% master narrative official story and us 99%. We know where we're coming from. And where we're going to, and it's the same place, but on the spiral, it's down a rung. And it's a death spiral. Extinction 2112 is coming about with 2020 hypo hindsight. And we're sailing on the ship of fools, fossil fueled. And the pheromones take us where we're going, but we ain't going nowhere. Now, here is the center of gravity, and it's enough for us to be satisfied. The grace and the grit and the grift. Turns out time is a quantum graffiti. And the relativity of simultaneity is no more. And the Bose-Einstein condensate is just a plasma with a little Hawking radiation radiating out of all the black holes in the universe and the white holes in white privilege. And the time realized enlightenment is the antidote. And Epinka, Satori, Kundalini, Kensho. And you got to ethnically cleanse your aura and ethically cleanse your chakras. And it's bread and roses. Can you tolerate the pleasure of I and I-re, TPP, inside you, here at Hamlin with us 36 Lamed Vavniks? You are the perfect audience. It's the new now. It's the here. Be side. I take it all back to the future. You circle around the stupa spirally. And it's a downward spiral. Inside you, babe, it's copacetic, it's tantric, it's revelatory, it's orgasmic reality, enlightenment. It's a vagina monologue. And it's very, very, very. You ask the guru within for a win-win. And what do you get but a soliloquy, a solo song of songs, a vagina monologue? Am your mother there? There's a double entendre. The entropy is logarithmic. In the origami quilted multiverse. Inflated macrostatically. Temperature and pressure emerge from the self-organization on an entropic level, thermodynamically, theodynamically. You take a deep breath. Inflations happen. Silence also. I'm with you now, my perfect audience. There's a harmonic convergence, a guided meditation. Time is reborn and it inflates itself with the universe. And there's an indivisibility of indiscernibles. But whatever, never mind, mind the gap. Hail Mary, Ribono Shel Olam. The Galgan humor is thick and black, whole cloth. And us, some of us are men of the cloth, the whole cloth, and we're naked right in front of you. And you can see our spandex superpower sees right through the whole cloth that's in front of you. And it's not pretty. Being old and having your senior moments and your sciatica and your scoliosis. But never mind. That's how wisdom arises and smooths itself around the roundabout. Take your time, but not for granted. 'Cause it's not like that. Inside you, babe, it is what it is on the down low. The nectar flows. And so goes it. The gamma ray bursts in the dust. And the gas, interstellar galactikites and stalagmites fill the caves and cavernous multiverse. You take a deep breath. The mental multiverse is where you find the story bird by bird. Take a deep breath. Let her rip, R.I.P. The heat death of the universe will happen entropically, second dynamically, second string and super strung. And quantum non-locally. But never mind, you do your best. And the chips fall where they might. The sapienosphere, us eukaryotic semi-sapients with our semi-sentience, and our pseudo-psychosis. It's hard. It's hard being one of the olds, on fleek. It's so trill, no chill. Enlightenment is here, at Hamlin, at the Buddhist Baptist, Alzheimer's oddest, home for the hospiceless. It's a tantric, ahimsic, akashic, artistic, synesthetic, shamanistic sangha. And you're part of it. It's a 0 day, a 0K day. It's all under surveillance. So there's a record, it's documented in Bluffdale. And you take a deep breath. You circle around the stupa spirally, clockwise. And you nebulize the spiral nebula and its nebulizers. The macro level lubricates the leverage for you to levitate quantumly. You take a quantum leap. Woke. Are you woke? Synesthetically, ecstatically, tantrically, stochastically, topographically, but not sarcastically. It's an ironic omnisphere that we live in. It's an orthodontic mouth in your tongue. You tongue-lin the words bird by bird, and you make morphemes that are amorphous, and you smear the smarginatura. The boundaries merge. Self-organization emerges. You make it plain. It's worth it. All the pain. No suffering, though. No regrets. As we near the end, us 36, near the end of the episphere, approach the post-Holocene, posthumously, it will have been obvious that this, here, now, Coke 1% master narrative official story, it's unsustainable. It won't be much longer now. So don't put all your eggs in one basket or on one bucket list or a checklist of Atul Gawande. Fast or slow, dual or deep down, near or far out. It all codepends on simulcast, simultaneity, relatively, speaking relativity rules, specially or generally. You got all the time in the world if time is symmetrical. And if it's not, if it's asymmetrical, then you better hurry and do the right thing. Practice intention and intuition. How much, how far energy do you have to get arrested development redeveloped? You help DW and Arthur. Pokemon Go. Time uncouples itself with counterposes and poise. You practice intention and intuition and the process, the Alexander technique. My life in the Alexander technique is over. And in the single flower Sangha, Georgie, Genjo Koan, Ikkyu too, that's me. Or is it Ryokan in the rapture? Dayenu, it's enough. Satori, sadhana, take a deep breath on a pentatonic scale. In iambic pentameter, 6 degrees C is 666 with 20/20 hypo hindsight. It's not personal, anatta, and it evolves, anicca. And dick-driven, it's dukkha, dearth and death. In the Coke 1% master narrative, official story, end time, extinction 2112. And before that, peak population, the great I thing, tithing, the great decimation, maybe 3 degrees C. Maybe that's where it starts. Anthropathically, you socially, you sociopathically, the eugenics have begun. The white privilege won't sustain us. It's unscalable and unsustainable. Better buy Bird's Eye, or Burma Shave, or business as usual. You shape shift the phase shifts of the shape dynamics. There's a quantum foam that supersymmetricizes the whole origami quilted queequeg multiverse. You work out the thermodynamics, and it emerges that temperature and pressure are aggregate numbers, and so is GDP and chained CPI, LIBOR rated, ISDA fixated. We live in the gifted part of the comfort zone in amidst the griftopia, the greed, the addiction, dick-driven, opioidal, oxytocic, and vasopresent. I'm taking a deep breath. Oh.